Monkton Park Film Show. Monkton Park sits beside the River Avon in Chippenham, a community space for all to enjoy. It's a place where you can relax, enjoy walking by the river, listening to the birdsong, enjoy a picnic or meet friends, a little piece of nature in the centre of a bustling townscape. The park's history. The Moncton Manor was originally owned by the Cluniac religious order, which was based at Moncton Farley, where it was used for agricultural purposes. This can be verified as, when the sun is low, the remains of the early medieval ridge and furrow ploughing can clearly be seen in the grass. In 1690, the Moncton estate was partitioned. Arthur Esmead, woolen draper from Caen, now takes the manor house and a portion of the estate, and Goddard takes the other lands. The house. Moncton House is a Grade II listed Georgian manor house dated 1757. It is visible on the Andrews and Jory's 1773 map of Chippenham. The current Moncton House stands on the site of Old Manor House, or partly so, and a part of the old house still exists. Arthur Esmead is listed in an indenture, an agreement of money changing hands, of 1700, for a plot of pasture ground originally called the Hermitage, to the north of the Chippenham to London Road. At that time it was walled or fenced, and it was called or known as the burying place for Quakers. The Reverend Francis Kilvert was often a visitor to Monkton House in the 19th century with his sister Fanny for croquet, an archery party or dinner. This was when the Audrey family lived there. Monkton House, garden and the plantation, which was to become the park, was put up for auction in 1919 by Miss Carrick Moore. The people who owned the house in 1919 were Henry Robert Beauclerk Coventry and Mary Muriel Sophie Beauclerk Coventry, known as Muriel. They married in 1893 and had 3 children. Henry died in 1953, and in 1957, after the death of Muriel, the council bought the house. Lady Coventry Road was named after her. Monkton House is now a set of private apartments. The pillars that were the entrance to the estate are the ones now outside the entrance to the council offices at the top of Monkton Hill. Events at Moncton. The park has hosted many popular events over the years. There was a floral fete in September 1871. A grand flower show was due to take place on August the 19th, 1889, not to mention the Foresters' Dinner in July 1868. The Wiltshire Friendly Society had their event in July 1862, and following the floral theme, the Chippenham District Horticultural Society's annual exhibition was held at the park in 1890. During World War II, the 1st Battalion of the Home Guard celebrated their anniversary by holding a display in the park, which consisted of an attack on a farmhouse occupied by Germans. The farmhouse was blown up and the prisoners captured. A collection at the gate raised £60 for the Wiltshire Regiment Prisoner of War Fund. Chippenham's Pageant, while on a decidedly small scale, was a creditable part of an ambitious Festival of Britain programme in 1951, about which the somewhat sceptical Wiltshire Times was to remark, "Never before has anything like it been attempted, and it must be said at once it was well worthwhile." In an attempt to defray the expense of costumes, an appeal had gone out in March for old felt hats, old curtains, fabrics, clothes, beads and necklaces, lampshades, old rope and so on, which produced surprisingly creditable costumes. Unfortunately, those for the scene involving King Alfred went astray, and those used were masterpieces of improvisation at short notice. Despite its many critics, The festival was a moment that displayed the vitality of local communities in an uncertain post-war world. 2 years later, in 1953, it was followed up with a children's empire pageant held for the coronation of Elizabeth II. And more recently, there has been the River Festival and the Dragon Boat Race, Chipfest, the regular fairground attractions and the annual fireworks events. Who remembers the Eddie Cochran Festival and the Civil War reenactments? Sports. The open-air heated 8-lane swimming pool opened in 1960 and closed in 1988. The Olympiad Leisure Centre opened a year later in 1989. Canoeists could often be seen practising on the river up by the town bridge, and there is the regular Saturday park run that is open to all. Moncton Park hosts a 9-hole par 3 golf course, an 18-hole crazy golf course and a 10th-hole tea room. A more recent addition to the repertoire is foot golf. Inside the perimeter of the golf course can be found a World War II pillbox situated near the River Avon, a stop line following the GHQ line of natural waterways used as anti-tank obstacles. Chippenham Town Council took over the park's playground in 2019 and have since given it a revamp. Artworks. The Twister is made from Bath stone by sculpturist Lorraine Frost. It draws its inspiration from the water snails found in the River Avon and was unveiled on September the 21st, 1995. Lorraine included drawings made by local children carved into the stone, later outlined in acrylic to help prevent further loss of the detail over time. Wiltshire Council looked after the park for a number of years, but it was recently taken over by Chippenham Town Council. Local groups have been helping with nature, conservation and wildlife tasks and ensuring the park remains a wonderful place for the residents of Chippenham for many years to come.